Alrighty. So I'm back, you guys, and I'm finally able to provide you all with my feedback on the ultimatum, the final episode, but I kind of want to break it down into separate parts because there's a lot of themes to digest that I saw there. So let's start with just kind of introducing myself. So I'm Lene Willis, licensed therapist in Maryland, West Virginia, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, and I've been doing therapy for over 20 years now. What else? What else? What else? I see couples, I see individuals. We're about to get a group started. It's going to be on just healing from all of 2024, all the things that we've been through, all of the challenges that we've been able to overcome, and then also looking forward to the challenges that are going to be coming, right? Because you don't want to view challenges as something that's so negative that you can't get over, but ultimately something that you are eager and you're curious about how you can dissolve it, at least find a way for you to manage it in an emotionally healthy way. And so those conversations would be about doing so from a healthy space, and you'll be able to hear other people's perspectives as well. And what we talk about in those conversations stay there, so I'm looking forward to it. Registration open soon. You can see my IG just to kind of keep updated on everything that's going to be happening. Probably be open later this afternoon once I get off this. All right, and my IG is at LW Councils with an S on the end. And that's it. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. So, the first theme that I really wanted to discuss and dive into, um, just for this particular video, and I'll do another theme in another video, is dishonesty. And I titled this one Untruths and White Lies because there were a lot of dishonest moments just happening throughout the episode, and everything kind of came up at the end, in the reunion where you saw all these like lies that have been told kind of consistently throughout the season just kind of come into fruition, so to speak, right? The thing about lies is that it always comes back. And this is the reason why you're not supposed to lie, okay? So let's just start there. So the first thing I want to talk about is Zaina. Oh, shout out to Zaina, Zaina's nail tech, for the QR code in her nails that she got done. Because I imagine on a set you can't bring your phone, you can't bring that type of stuff on set. And so Zaina, she definitely did a smart one there. She brought the receipts of the conversations and things like that that were happening. Where I don't know if you guys recall, where Scotty had accused her of running back and communicating to JR that something about why he was there and all of this stuff, and that it came from Scotty when really it didn't. It actually seems like it was a conversation that Zaina and Arya had, and that conversation kind of developed, snowballed into something else. But be it as it may, JR was completely dishonest to Zaina regarding the relationship. It seems like their relationship was very surface level, and it was a point that I had made at some juncture in a previous one of the recordings that I had about their relationship, where you can be in a relationship and it feels good. You guys had an opportunity to learn some basic things about one another and maybe some core issues and problems, but you never been able to actually resolve them to see how those turbulences and those hiccups in the relationship can actually help with boosting the relationship to a higher level. And it just seems like their relationship just became very stagnant, which is why Zaina issued the ultimatum to JR, because it's like, what are we doing? Almost 3 years in, like, what's going on? And it makes sense because I think what Zaina did was probably the best decision that she could have made, or she could have just ended the relationship. But I think if she had done it that way, she may not have felt um she may have experienced some regret, right? I like to say, and I probably said this before, and I'm gonna continue saying it. Life is based on making decisions out of regret, um, or out of fear, right? Or rejection, right? So fear, rejection. So you just have to just be very mindful about the things that you're deciding when it comes to your relationship, because a relationship, especially if you're anticipating it lasting a very long time, you have to really be cognizant of what's going on. You have to be tuned in to what's going on in your relationship, not just going along to get along. Because your relationship is going well doesn't necessarily mean that you guys are a good fit. And Zaina saw that they were not a good fit. Not only that, but he was deceitful. I guess leading up to the point that they were even on the show, there were girls that were communicating with Zaina about about JR's unfaithfulness. And I wasn't surprised because he has this energy about him where he wants to, I don't know. And I don't know, Lord, I don't know if it's because, I don't know if it's because it's an issue of, and I hope you guys were able to hear me this entire time because I feel like sometimes this doesn't open up properly. But anyways, in case you weren't able to hear me from before, we're talking about JR's dishonesty to Zaina in regards to their relationship, just throughout their relationship, and then all coming full circle at the end of the ultimatum, where he said that he wasn't ready for marriage. And it was very clear JR had been dishonest with Zaina all along. And I think that he'd painted this picture as though they were good, but in a lot of ways, it almost seemed like he was using her in some capacity because they were in this relationship and she thought that it was a healthy, strong relationship. They had these things in common, and that all those things could be true. But I believe that JR knew fully and well ahead of time that Zaina was not the girl for him. And not because she's not a good person or she isn't wifey material, which was one of Zaina's concern. Am I even wifey material? Is this even making sense? What do I need to fix? And I think a lot of the times people in relationships, when you're dating someone who is disinterested in commitment or disinterested in breaking down the walls that they have that is stopping them from moving forward into a committed relationship, um, they come off and they pretend as though they are interested in this relationship. And so it makes the other person feel, well, it must be me then. I must be doing something wrong, which is why this person is not committed to me or disinterested in committing to me the way as I would like them to. When in reality, that's not the case at all. You know, when we're trying to grasp for reasons why our relationships aren't working, we tend to look inward, which is great. It's fantastic to look inward, but it's important to make sure that you come out with actual thoughts in regards to what it is that you are contributing to the relationship problems that you have. You have to be fully honest with yourself. There may be things, but you also have to be honest if there aren't any things that you're doing really that are impacting the relationship. It really just could be the other person. It's not me, it's you. Right? So that's the one lie that I thought was a huge deal. Something else that came up was Caleb. Caleb was not honest about his connection, the emotional connection that he had with Arya all along. And we kept saying it. I kept saying it, Obama, because, I like to call him Obama because he kind of has this like relaxed, cool, calm, collected demeanor. And Caleb, I was like, Caleb, sir, hello, knock, knock, is anybody home? You like Arya, and that's okay. It doesn't make you a bad guy. And I think part of what he was trying to grapple with was his struggle of if I like Arya, then that must mean that Mariah and I are not a good fit. No, you can like and be attracted to multiple people, right? Now, if you're interested in having multiple relationships, then do you, right? I am not interested in multiple relationships. I value monogamy, right? So even though I might see this someone over here and I find that person attractive or I get to know them, oh, he's seemed like a really good person. And I get to know someone else over here and I get to know someone else over here. And all three of them seem like really good people. And I'm going to be attracted to them. It doesn't necessarily make me a bad person. Um, if I find someone, that's a lot of food. Thank you. Husband just bought me breakfast, which I got to eat because for I start my 10 o'clock session. But anyway, so it's not to say too that even in a marriage that I want to see someone else that's attractive. Hello, I have eyes, right? There are attractive people out here in the world. It doesn't make me a cheater. It doesn't make me unfaithful because I find someone else attractive. Let's just stop it then. I think Caleb was kind of struggling internally struggling with the fact that he was attracted to Arya, and because he'd spent that time with her, that he was actually emotionally connected to her. So it wasn't just that she was physically appealing to him, to his eyes, but also her soul, her heart, the things that he'd seen and learned about her. It was actually something he was interested in. And something that seemed bizarre to me, keep in mind that we saw this in 2024, the end of 2024, but it was recorded a year prior, right? So 2023. So in 2023, they set the wedding date for the summer of 2026. Yeah, that's 3 years. Y'all doing the math? Y'all doing the math with me? Do the math with me. They recorded in 2023. Within that year of the ultimatum actually airing, they decided that they were going to get married in the summer of 2026. So in 2023, they decided that they were going to get married in the summer of 2026. That's almost 3 years later. Okay. They announced in 2024, the fall of 2024, that they're going to get married the summer of 2026. Do y'all see the problem? No? Okay, let me explain it to you. The dishonesty that I'm seeing in Caleb is that I don't think that he is emotionally honest with himself, right? About the way that he felt for Arya and the way that he could possibly feel for anyone else. And I think he is still struggling with his emotions towards Mariah. I think it was very uncomfortable at the end of the reunion when you saw Arya and Mariah speaking at the end. Mariah is well within, her rights to ask these questions. And Caleb was very uncomfortable with them having that conversation. I don't think Arya is meaning to try to break up their relationship or break up a happy home. But she also wants to call attention to the fact that no, dude, you like me. Like I felt it. I'm not going crazy. Is it's not fully gaslighting. I just think that Caleb is not aware. If he was aware and he was trying to pretend as though he didn't, then it would be gaslighting, right? He's gaslighting Arya. Um, but I don't see it as gaslighting because I really believe that Caleb is like, no, I didn't really. But then he said he saw himself back and watching himself, it was kind of like having an out of body experience, watching yourself in the position and realizing, wait a minute, I do actually have feelings for this person, you know? So I think him and Mariah setting a date so far in advance is to either one, give them the time and space for them to determine if their relationship is really sound, right? And if they can really reestablish the trust and the emotional connection that they need to feel is stable enough to withstand a marriage. Um, My bet is that it's also set that long or at such a later date because Caleb is still trying to make his emotions and his behaviors be congruent with the decision to get married to Mariah. I don't think that he's on board with getting Mariah to getting married to Mariah. I don't think that he sees her as a bad person, but what I do think that Caleb is struggling with, and Caleb, if you need a therapist, come through. Because what I really think is happening is that he's not realizing that him not moving forward with the decision with his decision to marry Mariah doesn't make him a bad guy. It just means that he is doing his due diligence. You have to be diligent in your relationships. What is it for? Why are you dating? You're not just dating just to get married. Yes, you would like to get married, but is this relationship something that is substantial and is sound and it makes sense for you to go towards that step? Don't just go through the steps just to go through the steps because the goal is marriage. No, right? You want to be married for the long run. You want to make sure that the relationship and the connection that you've built with the person ultimately is a long-lasting connection. Okay? Don't just do things just to do things because all your friends are doing it, or because you feel like you're at the age, or because you want to get married and you're dating this guy or you're dating this girl. And so, yes, we must get married because there's nothing wrong in our relationship. There not being an issue in the relationship doesn't mean that it's a yes to you and this person getting married. Please, okay? Know that. It doesn't necessarily mean too that because you don't have any issues that your relationship is boring. We don't need to create problems where they aren't not, right? But again, really evaluate the emotional connection and the emotional safety that's in your relationship. And I've spoken about emotional safety so much, but in case you missed it and you need a refresher, join the groups, right? That's going to be coming up soon. So final thought on this video, and then I'm going to end this here. Scotty, this is the other thing that was important. Scotty's saying that um he thought that saying the things to Arya that he wanted to say to Arya was helpful. It was not the truth. He was telling a lie. He was giving her information that he thought would be beneficial to her and then beneficial to the relationship. But ultimately, it was not beneficial to them at all because it wasn't a good fit. Their relationship just wasn't a good fit. And it wasn't just for the reasons that he'd shared that he had, with her, but also for the reasons that Arya had stated clearly from the very beginning. And when she thought that he had healed during this process and they were making steps forward, turns out that it wasn't. He was just saying that stuff because he was trying again to move towards a goal of marriage that ultimately they weren't prepared to do together, not because they are individually bad people, they just were not a good fit. And my heart goes out to Arya and to Scotty too, because it was also a loss that he experienced. But they were pregnant. I don't know at what point they got pregnant. And then she had a miscarriage. I don't know if it was the stress that she was dealing with or whatever it is from the show. I have no idea of the timeline. All I know is that between the loss of their baby and apparently her grandma passed away as well, those things impacted her emotionally. And I'll tell you what, as a woman who's experienced a miscarriage, it is tough experiencing it because there's just so much that you are dealing with emotionally. You're trying to deal with the loss of that. And low key, my grandma passed away. My grandma, my namesake grandma, I'm actually named after her, Ivy, my middle name, Ivy. Um, she passed away like I had a miscarriage in the beginning of January. She passed away like mid to end of January. So it's like I get it, Arya, like having to deal and grapple with the losses that you're experiencing, whether you were prepared for them or not prepared for them or whatever the case is, they are tough. They're tough situations. And I hope that she's also seeing a therapist and she's leaning into her support system because even a year later with the show airing and all of that, I'm sure it kind of brought back a lot of those emotions as you saw her crying, in the last episode, in the reunion episode. And is really tough to watch. That's something I would never wish on another woman. I wouldn't even wish it on my worst enemy to experience a miscarriage. But those things happen. And I think Scotty set them up to fail by presenting this thing as though it was something that was tangible and that they were working towards together in their relationship, when ultimately he wasn't interested in doing that in his heart. And it led to their relationship, coming to a close. So it's sad to see that that happened. Out of everything, um, I was wishing that that both couples who left the show early came back so we can talk through some of those things, but did one of them didn't, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But also we have so much more to talk about, and we'll talk about the other couples and other things that came up in the reunion episode. But that is for another video, and that video is going to be done on another day because this the girl is swamped today. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in